7 minutes past 8 here this morning on OTB AM. I'm delighted we've got Killian Clarke with us in studio, who is not currently a Cavan footballer, but you're not a former Cavan footballer, is that right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I've decided probably just to step away for a year, maybe. I call it maybe a sabbatical, if you want to call it that, you know. I wouldn't call it retirement all the same, so just for a while and just take a step back. And
how old are you?
26.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when are you 27?
September.
Okay,
September.
so you're... And when did you decide to do this?
I decided to do it. I was away. I was on holidays actually just before Christmas. I was away in Dubai and I did a bit of travelling in Thailand as well. And I had a good time to kind of think of it over that period. And I came back and I kind of made the call after that, you know. It wasn't an easy decision to come to all the same.
Had it been in the back of your head for a couple of years?
I definitely was. Not a couple of years, I'd say. I probably had reservations probably the year before. And then when I got in training and that, I was kind of the hunger kind of came back, and I was back enjoying it, you know. But then when I came back in this year, I probably stumbled through a club championship with my own club, Shercock, in the senior championship this year, and then going back into Cavan, you know, October, November time. I wasn't enjoying it, and I couldn't really justify the commitment levels there, you know. You
were back training in the pre-season and went away on holidays and came back and went, okay, I've had enough.
Yeah, no, I did. I had, we'll say, a bit of testing done before I left, you know, so I had those goals to reach, and then I had a kind of bit of a period to kind of think back and reflect on it a wee bit, and then I did a week's training to kind of test the waters to see if the hunger was there, and it just wasn't, so I said I'd step away, you know. It's
such a nebulous thing, isn't it? Hunger, and there's some reservations. What are those? What is that for you? What does that mean, like, on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, it's probably a bit of I don't know what way you'd say it, but like I probably fell out of love with the game a wee bit from a few tough defeats that we took at the latter end of last year, you know, in the summer against Donegal and Tyrone. And just, we'll say, you know, those gym sessions, those training sessions late in the evenings, a lot of travelling to be done, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, you know, why am I doing this? Why do I need to? You know, like, and then you start making those excuses in your head. Oh, sure, you know, we're not going to have this conversation that I missed that gym session when it comes to the 1st of June, or, you know, that kind of way. And it's probably not a good enough attitude to be bringing to Cavan football, and I wouldn't have expected it off a lot of players this last 7, 8, 9 years that I was involved with them. So it was a bit hypocritical of me to...
Because you captained the team.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I captained the team probably 3 years ago now when Matty McLean was over.
Right, so you felt like there was a leadership role, and if there's any doubts in your mind that it would be unfair to be somebody who is in a leadership role on the team.
Yeah, no, and I've seen people come in and out of the squads and kind of given that leeway. You know, some of our better players will say are more talented footballers, they just had a lot going on at the time, and they kind of were coming in and out of the panel as they liked, and it kind of upset other players within the panel, you know, and I just didn't want to be that person.
This was a couple of years ago, or was this last season? Or
no, a couple of years ago. Right. I've seen come through, like, just from my own experience, you know.
Right, and that kind of leads to people thinking this isn't fair, because obviously I wouldn't mind 3 or 4 months off.
Yeah, exactly, you know, like, and I'd say if you ask the majority of players, you know, there's certain people that enjoy that kind of hard work and that honest effort, if you understand me, but there's probably a few that could say, you know, I'm not going to be any fitter come June. This is what I can bring to the table regardless of how fit I am, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that, because Niall Moyna was in recently, and he was saying he figured that, I can't remember the exact figure, it was either 40 or 60%, that you could do a fewer amount of sessions and be just as fit, because there's this culture of train, make sure you're all training so that everybody feels exactly the same, we've all suffered the same, and we've created that bond, but it doesn't really work for everybody, does it?
Yeah, and especially with the way that Niall Moyna is involved there with the colleges and a lot of the senior teams as well. Like, he's probably seen a lot of players doubling up on training sessions, trying to keep everyone happy, you know, that kind of way. But I think that nowadays there's a lot of sports science goes into it. There's a lot of intelligent people involved in county teams, and yes, they might have 6, 7 sessions a week, you know, but if you have an S&C coach or a high performance manager involved in that team, if he's worth his salt, he will be able to kind of reduce the exposure to, we'll say, high endurance running, or it'll be video sessions that day, you know, if you understand me. So it's not...
Totally, so individually tailored programs, but that wasn't enough to keep you interested in going back, or to get your hunger... Like, if they'd come to you and said, okay, well, look, we're going to give you an individually tailored program here, which doesn't force you to do all this stuff. That wasn't going to be enough for you?
Yeah, no. Like, I'm not saying we'll say individually tailor programs to suit the needs of other players. You know, like, I think there's one cloth has to cover everyone. You know, just to keep the culture correct within a team environment. But I think everyone's kind of like a sports scientist will adjust that to suit those type of players or the whole team as a whole. But it didn't really entice me enough to change my mind.
Yeah. The question is then, like, I mean, you mentioned the one cloth thing, and that's totally understandable. You can't be kind of preaching about what other players should be doing if you're not kind of following the example yourself. And I guess it kind of comes back to the idea that the top teams, the teams that are contesting the All-Ireland finals, have more of an off-season at the moment. Granted, there are a couple of people playing with their clubs and all that. That'll be the case now over the next month or so. But they do have a bit of downtime. They do go off on their team holiday, and they do get to enjoy their Christmas a little bit more than, say, the people who will be targeting pre-season competitions will be when they've got to train over Christmas. Yeah,
you know, and there's probably a few lads, like especially in Cavan, that were involved that probably had a lengthy, we'll say, period within the championship of the Cavan championship, and they probably had niggles carrying through that championship, and they were going straight back into a rehab program. You know, it was an interesting one seeing all. I think Tipperary are away on holidays at the minute. You know, and that's something that probably Cavan don't do. You know, they don't give that period off to kind of allow players to, you know, keep the girlfriends happy, keep the wife happy, keep the family happy, or whatever it might be. You know, so that's an interesting one, but we're not just quite there yet, and those kind of added bonuses will come into play when you reach that top level. But you know, that's a conversation for another day. All the same.
How much do you see intercounty playing as a sacrifice in the rest of your life?
Yeah, well, there's ways of looking at it. You know, if it's a lot easier when you're kind of younger and you mightn't have really a clear picture of where you want to go. You know, you can fit into this structure of a a high performance team that kind of gives you a good kind of culture and attitude towards life as well. You know, it kind of guided me a good bit in what way I approach life myself. But yeah, no, it's an interesting one, but I don't really know. You know, I'm not 100% sure in regards to that. All the same, you know.
Like it does seem that obviously it's the number one thing in a lot of young men's lives, that it's an intercounty footballer first, and then the rest of your life kind of follows. Like we were talking about this ESRI report that came out before Christmas, which had a fairly stark statistic that 40% of intercounty footballers, or intercounty players I should say, would change their post-secondary school career choice if they could go back and do it now, which obviously suggests that they made their entire career choice based on the fact that they play county.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think there's a few lads that'll be exceptions to the rules. You know, you have a few doctors and doctors specifically, you know, they kind of don't have that kind of wriggle room and that kind of flexibility within their job that suits intercounty football. You know, we'd Josh Hayes from Cavan, he was a doctor there. And when he was kind of coming to the latter stages of his, we'd say, his studying period, you know, he just couldn't give that commitment. You know, he was getting 3 hours sleep a night, and he was expected to go out and play or train for us the next day, and it was just counterproductive all the same, you know. So it tailors the way you make your decisions. For, like, myself, I did a business degree and I came out. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and you know, I went into a stockbrokers and developed myself down that route. But a lot of the players would be going down kind of the teaching route, kind of finishing up at 2 or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock maybe, and then have the evening off to do what they want after that. You know, that kind of way, kind of a bit more of a simple life, more so. And you know, a good few of them would be looking to move home and kind of set up themselves so they only have to go maybe 15, 20 minutes to training or whatever it is, compared to your 2.5 hour commute from Dublin, you know, which it's counterproductive as well, kind of sitting in a car for 2.5 hours, and then maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours back up as well.
And potentially getting to their mid to late 30s, regretting their career decision. That is the decision that a lot of people have to weigh up, and you have to ask the question if that's worth it.
Yeah, you know, I don't think a lot of them would have any regrets all the same. You know, probably if, you know, things didn't work out and, you know, you'd have fallen out with the management or you picked up an injury, you'd probably be having those doubts. But if everything was going well and, you know, you can probably justify the commitment if you're in that top 5%. If you're winning or provincial titles, or you're winning All-Irons or contesting All-Irons, you do whatever you needed to do, you know, regardless of what career path you took. But it just goes back to, you know, the commitment level is kind of easier to give when you're kind of, you know, contesting that maybe Ulster title or contesting that All-Ireland final, you know.
Would the commitment level be easier if there was an off-season every year, if you didn't feel like you were always training?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it would, and I think I've kind of noticed it in the last month or two. I've kind of got a lot more time to kind of spend with my family and my girlfriend and kind of making my own decisions, and that off-season, it's probably a good conversation to have, but, this period at the minute's probably where you'd be thinking about having it, maybe stretching out. I know there was rules put in place that, you can't field till December or whatever it is within the GEA. No, I don't think there's too many county teams that abide by that rule all the same,
Yeah, anybody is, yeah.
It's kind of like a bit of a willy-nilly thing that people just kind of pass it off that, oh, sure, it'll be grand.
If you have November, December and January off every year, or if you have December and January off, guaranteed every year. Because you talk about the Dubs going on holidays and it being a bonus, but Tommy's pointing out there that actually Dubs didn't come back until the week of the Monaghan game last year in the league. Kerry aren't back, as far as I know. They're still on holidays, are they?
I think so.
Yeah, so they're away. Maybe they're doing some training on holidays, but I don't think so. They're actually just having downtime and relaxing, and it's not having any impact on their ability to win next season. So this whole notion that you have to constantly be training to build up some store that is going to be like a miraculous... This isn't a computer game where you have like life that gets drained out of you slowly. It really isn't. That's not how fitness works.
Yeah, and I think it probably comes back to the management and them looking to impress, especially if they're a new management team within a county setup, if you understand me, that if they say go to the county board and go, I want to send the lads away for 2 weeks to go on holidays with whoever they want, or with the team for a team environment and developing that kind of friendship within them, a lot of the counties would just laugh them off. Yeah. Why would we be sending them boys?
But even if even if they don't go on holidays, even if you just had that time off away, even if that's like no training, we don't want to see you. Go off and spend time with your family. Go off and spend time doing whatever it is you want to do for December and January. We don't care what you do. Just come back relatively fit.
Yeah.
Like some kind of off season.
Yeah. No, they'll probably have that bit of a especially like an S&C or a high performance manager. He wants to control the environment from word go, if you understand me. So he wants to say.
Well, they're getting paid as well. They're getting paid by the number of sessions, generally, in a lot of cases. So, like, certainly the S&C people are professional and they need to be. But, like, if I'm getting paid by the number of sessions, I'm naturally going to have more sessions because it's kind of a conflict of interest.
Yeah. I don't know how. I think the way it's going now, a lot of them are going to be on a salary base, so it won't come into play.
And that's exactly what we need to move to.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And so you don't get paid for having an extra session here and an extra session there. I think that's kind of counterproductive all the same. But I don't think there's too many managers that would agree to, we'll give everyone a month off here, and the way the culture is within, I think that ESRI report too, with binge drinking and stuff like that, kind of within that off-season period. Like, a lot of the lads might go off the rails. A lot of younger lads might go, geez, I haven't had a period here of a month that I could do what I wanted in the last 4 years. What am I going to do? A lot of them will probably just go, right, I'll go travelling, or I'll settle down and get a bit of work done that I have to catch up on, because I've had a few early clocking off there early a few times throughout the year that I need to.
It strikes me that you like the game of football.
Yeah, no, I do, yeah.
So how did you fall out of love with it?
Yeah, well, I don't really know. I kind of struggled with that myself this last while. Probably at the latter end of last year, I took those defeats probably harder than I should have. I should have brushed them off my back a wee bit quicker than I did. And kind of, I'm on the road probably 9 years with Cavan now, so I just couldn't get my head around going through that process again and having nothing to show for it. As in, I've other things going on. Well, everyone has other things going on as much as anyone else. But I've other things I want to kind of concentrate on or focus in on in my life, and that's the kind of decision I've come to on the back of that,
Yeah.
Like, going through that process is an interesting point you raise. Like, in a hypothetical world, I know it's a kind of an impossible question to answer now, but so your season ended when? In July. So if you had that time off post-July to not be involved with Cavan, and there was an off-season put in place, a concrete one, where your county can contact you for another, say, 2-3 weeks, would you feel that you have then itched the scratch of being an independent young man again, that you've had your 4 or 5 months off, you actually feel like you've got your own headspace back, and you're then prepared to go back into that process, back into the early season, pre-season grind that is required to be a top-class footballer?
Yeah, I think that'd be the way to go forward with it. I think any of the top teams, like your rugby or soccer, they get that period off, and within the way the structure, the fixtures is set up within GAA at the minute, you know, if you have a good club season, like you're saying, you're finishing up in July with Cavan, you know, you go straight back into the club and all things going well, you could be playing up till the
But I presume you enjoy that.
Yeah, no, like last couple of years I enjoyed it, you know, but I didn't enjoy it this year.
Right.
You know, so I was kind of struggling with that, as in I enjoyed, like that's kind of, because within Cavan and within county teams you play to a lot of structure and there's a lot of tactics and there's a lot of thinking behind what you're doing, you know, and within my own club it probably wouldn't be regarded as a top tier club in Cavan, but we're senior this year, we won the intermediate a few years ago, and you can kind of play it off the cuff and you can kind of express yourself and use those skills you're after learning, you know, that kind of way. And I enjoyed that the last 5-6 years when I used to go back to them, and then obviously meeting the lads you grew up with as well and having the crack with them, but I just wasn't enjoying it then this year, we'll say, so I kind of put a halt to everything, and just that's what a decision I came up with then after that.
It's fair enough, and look, no one can quibble with that. Is part of this then as well that the competition structures are such that it's very hard for a team like Cavan to make progress? You've got to put everything into those early rounds of the Ulster Championship, and if you lose one of those games, it's almost impossible to come back from at an emotional pitch.
Yeah, I don't know if the competition structures are a disadvantage to Cavan. I think Cavan I think the bar is set very high in Ulster with Donegal and Tyrone. I think they're probably leading lights at the minute, and probably Armagh and Monaghan probably the next tier down. But I think just Cavan as a whole just need to get better and reach that standard that they've reached, and you know, quit pointing the blame on something else more so, as and even myself in that regard, you know, as in just kind of get on with it more.
Yeah, yeah. And so this was like the last 18 months. It felt like you guys were putting in performances where you were finally fulfilling the potential of the great minor and under-21 teams that you were part of. In a way, it seems like now they're getting that close. It's harder to walk away than it is to go back.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And like a lot of I think the majority of the panel, there's probably a few younger lads that involved this year, and probably, you know, your 20, 21, 22-year-olds that wouldn't have had those that exposure to that minor team or under-21 team. But, you know, it suits certain lads. Like a lot of the lads kind of have settled, we'll say, within Cavan and have kind of based their life around having that kind of easier lifestyle that will kind of suit going to training 10, 15, 20 minutes down the road or something.
So the travel is another thing that kind of begins to get in.
You could be travelling 22 hours a week or whatever it is, like, you know, and that's probably a bit excessive, maybe 16 hours a week, give or take, you know.
It's quite a lot.
That obviously paid a wee bit of a hindrance on it as well, you know, that kind of way. But, you know, it wasn't the be all and end all the same.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind the driving. But.
Yeah. In terms of the style of play and how the game is evolving at the moment, was it enjoyable to play?
Yeah, no, it definitely was. I think especially last year we kind of, you know, I think I mentioned this last time I was on, which is here as well, but Cavan was known as the Black Death, you know, where we played that defensive structure, and it was probably after Donegal had All-Ireland success, probably the next 2 or 3 years we were kind of had a similar structure to them. But especially last year and the year before, we kind of changed that to a kind of more of a forward press and kind of looking to get those turnovers higher up the field, and I find that more enjoyable than kind of sitting back and kind of waiting for a mistake to attack. So I think that a lot of teams are going down that route. I was at the Kilcoo game on Saturday night, and you know, they're fairly defensive now. I think Conor Lavery was the only man up front for them in the first half, but when they got that turnover, it was all guns blazing. And the 2 goals they got in the first and second half were both from turnovers high up the field, so it obviously does pay its dividends all the same. Yeah,
okay. And then FOMO this summer when Cavan are doing well, what's that going to feel like for you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know what the answer's going to be yet. You know, it's probably be a tough one to take, but I have to stand by my decision and just get on with it and just take it like a man more so than anything else.
Did you have to come out of the team WhatsApp group?
Yeah. That was done straight away when the decision was made. So.
Right.
Did you leave it or did they kick you?
Geez, that's a good question. I don't even remember. I'm not actually sure. I think I don't. Yeah, I'd say they probably moved me more so.
And was that straightforward? Were you happy enough for that to happen, or was that like, oh, that's okay?
No. I knew what was coming down the line. You know, I knew what I was getting myself involved for there. So.
Are you doing any training? Like, are you addicted to training anyway, or is this?
No, not necessarily. You know, like actually just playing a bit of soccer at the minute. I'm playing a bit of racquetball too. I have a friend that's fairly good at racquetball, Joe Dillon from Kingscourt. So the two of us just kind of baiting away at that and see where that takes us, you know.
Yeah, you were a
But
decent
more
soccer
fun.
player underage, obviously.
I was all right now. Where are you getting that information from? I was all right now. I wouldn't say I was any airs of grace about me, but you know, something. I haven't played soccer in 8 years, or 7, 8 years, because you know, if you picked up a soccer injury playing a game of soccer, you know, there's a few players. Damien Coleman, probably one of the big, higher profile ones that would have picked it up, playing soccer in Stevens Day, I think 2 years ago. That, but. Yeah, no, I haven't been allowed to play it or been able to play it the last few years, so I want to kind of dabble with it now this year, hopefully, for a few games.
Just one last one for me, Killian. Are you concerned at all about inter-county football? Are you worried about its future if there are people involved with the top counties in Ireland walking away because they don't enjoy it enough?
Yeah, I'm slightly concerned. You know, like, I think the GAA kind of relies on people having a love of the GAA and a love of the actual sport itself, as in playing the game, and they kind of have a reliance on people enjoying that environment. And if that environment isn't correctly set up, or that love goes out of the player itself, there's not a lot more to attract them to that sport, if you understand me. That's one thing I would say that, you know, people are kind of developing. You can see a lot of my friends will say, and people of my age group are kind of moving away, getting on with their life, doing other things, you know, maybe buying houses or going travelling to Australia, America, wherever they're at. You know, and unless you're in that, you know, that top tier, that 5%, you know, that interprovincial title, that All-Ireland title, it's going to be a hard one to go, oh yeah, I can justify this commitment. You know, because I love kicking a ball over the bar, or I love that hard training, you know, it's kind of...
And do you feel Cavan aren't there at the moment?
Aren't there in regards to...
An interprovincial title, a top 5%?
I'd say they're not miles away, and I'd say we've been knocking on that door the last few years. I think the exits this year won't help the cause, but hopefully it will develop other players in that area. And, you know, I think Conor Mina and Darren McVitie, two boys that are travelling at the minute, hopefully they will come back within a year's time or that, and only strengthen the team on from the other players getting exposure then too, you know.
You guys were all in that minor team together, so you've all kind of soldiered through high profile games and that level of intensity and stress that comes from representing the county. Is there a possibility that you just enjoy civilian life enough and go, I had 9 years of playing inter-county football, that's actually enough for me, and I'm going to go off and follow my career and, you know, invest time in my relationship with my family and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one. The answer is I don't know. You know, like, as in, if I'm happy, you know, like, I'd be a big believer in, you know, do things that make you happy. You know, like, as in, if that's training 7 nights a week and, you know, doing a dog on it as much as you can with your county team, that's all well and good, that's for you. But, you know, if spending more time with your family or being able to go to different events, you know, your girlfriend's birthday or whoever it is, your cousin's birthday, if you want to do those things as well, it's just depending on what path you want to take for yourself. So, you know, we'll just recap next year, and I'll kind of have a good think about it to see, well, hopefully Mickey will take me back all the same, you know, you wouldn't know what way they're going.
Yeah.
But, you know, hopefully I'll make myself available for selection then next year if my head's in the right place for it.
All right, well, listen, best of luck with it. Enjoy the year off. Any specific plans? Is there like I want to go to Electric Picnic, any of those kind of festivals that you wouldn't have been able to go to before?
Any specific plans? No, not necessarily. I was looking into maybe Coachella, maybe something along those lines.
Right,
I was
nice.
thinking, but that's very early stages. But no,
you got to do it. Once it's in your head, you got to do it.
yeah. No, I have a few people heading over that direction at the same time. So, no specific plans. Just kind of take it easy and take life as it comes, more so than anything else.
So your Instagram account's got to be lit for this next 8 months, just to make sure that your teammates have the FOMO and that you don't.
No, I keep it on the down low.